Relationships are the best place for us to see our karmic patterns. So in this video, we're going to talk about how karmic patterns play out in our most significant relationships and how to tell if we've actually cleared a karmic pattern with a person that we're in relationship with. Hi there, I'm Lisa Engles-WITTER, and welcome to my channel where I help spiritual seekers just like you to get simple answers to deep spiritual questions. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I have new videos coming out every week. In today's video, I'm going to help you understand how karma works in the context of our relationships. So let's dive in. So we're going to dive right into karma and relationships, but it is really important for you to have a little bit of background knowledge on karma first. So if you haven't already checked out my video on karma, there's a link to it in the description below this video. Go ahead and check that out and then come back here and we'll dive into karma and relationships. From the perspective of Eastern spiritual tradition, our relationships are where our karmic patterns are revealed to us. So our relationships obviously are super important. Now, we often don't even know what our karmic patterns are until we start to do the work of doing inquiry about the nature of how we relate to others that we're in relationship with. And when we do, these karmic patterns will begin to emerge. One of my teachers always says that relationships are a cauldron of consciousness, and she says that a disrupted relationship with others is really a reflection of a disrupted relationship that we have to ourselves. And when we have a disrupted relationship to ourselves, we have a disrupted relationship with the divine. So that is really critical because our relationship to the divine is important. It's critical to life because it helps us to understand how to live and how to live our lives. So the place to begin with karma and relationships is with our birth family. It's our birth family and our relationships to our parents, our siblings, and to anybody who was a primary caregiver or who had a significant role for us in our family. That's where our karmic patterns are going to be revealed to us, and that's how we know what we're here to work through in this particular lifetime. So in the context of karma and karma theory, relationships, especially with our birth family, are chosen prior to this lifetime. And that's this really mystical idea of Eastern spiritual tradition, is that we have past lifetimes, that it's not just our consciousness, our body exists for this lifetime, but our consciousness exists prior to this lifetime and after this lifetime as well. So the idea is that each of us has chosen our birth family based on karma that we still need to work through. And we incarnate based on karmic patterns of attachment, aversion, and ignorance. And I spoke earlier about those in another video that I did about the 3 causes of karma and karmic patterns. You can check that out after you watch this video. So we incarnate into our family and into significant relationships that we have because we have created an energetic pattern within our field that actually impels us into this lifetime so that we have this opportunity to learn through our reactivity to our family situation. So we end up, what happens is we project parts of aspects of ourselves onto others so that we can see ourselves. And that is sort of encapsulated like an encapsulation, I guess, of how karma works in relationships. So the key to understanding this whole concept is in something that is called karmic seeds. Now, karmic seeds is karma that is laying latent within you in your energetic field. And those karmic seeds require certain conditions to ripen or manifest in your reality, in the same way that a seed requires sun and soil and water in order to turn into a flower or a tree, or any type of plant. So our most significant relationships are going to provide us with the correct condition in order to activate those karmic seeds. And so that's what happens when we incarnate into our birth family, is those people, those relationships in that birth family provide the most optimal conditions for those karmic seeds, those karmic patterns to take blossom. So oftentimes, and I'll say almost all the time, these karmic patterns in our relationships get activated when we're in a state of powerlessness, when we feel powerless. So we're trying to draw power from others that we're in relationship with. Now, the truth is that how you relate to others, again, I said this, is a reflection of how you relate to yourself. And I already said that at the beginning. A disrupted relationship with others is a reflection of a disrupted relationship to ourselves. And if we do not examine these karmic patterns, what will happen is that they will continue over and over and over. And so if you've ever thought to yourself, why am I in this relationship? Or why do I keep getting into these types of relationships? This is just like the relationship I had with my mom or my brother or my aunt or my grandparents or whatever it is. From the perspective of karma theory, the reason why is so that you can examine your unique karmic patterns and work through them. So this really begs the question, well, how do I know when I've worked through a karmic pattern? Well, the litmus test for knowing if you've worked through a karmic pattern in your life or in any of your relationships is that you no longer repeat that pattern in any of your relationships. So that is the key. So if you're sitting here and you're now on your, I'm making this up, right? You're now on your third marriage with a guy or a woman who's the same marriage. You're like, oh my gosh, I've done it 3 times now. I've gotten into this same type of relationship over and over and over. I thought I dealt with that already. You haven't. You haven't cleared your karmic pattern just because perhaps you may have survived a rocky relationship or a rough, tough relationship and you're out of it now. It does not mean that you've actually cleared your karmic pattern from that relationship. In fact, this is a really common misconception about karma. I dealt that, I got rid of that karma. Well, how do you know you got rid of it? You only know you got rid of it if that pattern doesn't show up again in your life. So what's key to understand here is that karmic patterns that show up in relationships need to be identified and cleared at what I call a psycho-spiritual level. You can't just do the spiritual work. You can't just do all of this spiritual stuff and think you're going to clear a karmic pattern. And you can't just do therapy and think that you're going to clear a karmic pattern. One is spiritual bypassing, which a lot of people like to do. The other is not even including the spirit in it. It's just focusing on the mental, emotional aspect of ourselves. But karmic patterns exist at a psycho-spiritual level. So both of those are needed when you're clearing those patterns. All right, so to wrap up this discussion on karma and relationships, it's really important to know when you're working through karmic patterns that you need to have a lot of self-compassion. You actually need to have radical self-compassion, because as you start to examine the nature of the way you relate to others, you're going to begin to see where you need to do some work, and you might need to start really peeling back even more layers, even if you feel like you've already done the work. So none of us are perfect. We're all here because we're still working through our karmic patterns. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. None of us are enlightened, even though some people on the planet would like to think that they are enlightened and have figured it all out. If you're here, you haven't figured it out yet. So let's just put it that way. So along with clearing your karmic patterns, inevitably there will be some discomfort, there will be some pain. So that is why that radical compassion is super important when you're dealing with karma and relationships. All right, so it is time for question of the day. And the question of the day is, what do you consider your default pattern for relating to others? For instance, are you always submissive, or are you controlling, or are you confrontational, or are you powerless? What is your default pattern for relating to others? Put it in the comments below. I want to hear. And thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope to see you again in one of my future videos. And if you want to learn more about karma, I have a recording of a masterclass I did called, it's the Karma Clearing Masterclass. And you can click the link below this video to get more details about it, to sign up. It's free. It's a 90-minute class, and I take a deep dive into karma and clearing your karma. All right, that's it for now. Thanks so much for joining me, and namaste.